The other day, I was talking to one of the extended endangered alphabets family, a French linguist named Iris Ouda, who is currently in South Africa studying the extraordinary new writing system called Isibekwe Solamvu, or Ditema Tsadinoku, which, as you can see, looks like no other script on Earth. It's an astonishingly sophisticated creation. In appearance, it's based on the highly geometrical Litema art, traditionally practiced by Ndebele women on the exterior walls of houses. One such artist, Esther Mahalangu, has become world famous for her art, even being commissioned to design the paint job of a BMW concept car. But each individual subshape has its specific phonetic meaning. Labials and dentals are positioned outside the core triangle, which is voiced differently depending on which way it's pointing. At its apex, dentals are indicated by two lines across the triangle from side to side, and so on. It's been designed to accommodate all the extremely varied languages of the African continent. What Iris is studying, though, is not so much the script itself, but how people react to it. And here comes the point that interests me. She told me that how people react depends on whether they grew up monoscriptal, that is, using only one writing system, or polyscriptal, that is, using more than one, as in fact perhaps half the people in the world do. Those who grew up using only the Latin alphabet, she explained, even if they speak several languages, they take one look at Isibekwe and freak out. That's just too hard, they complain. How do you expect us to learn that? But those who grew up using more than one script mentally roll up their sleeves and say, more or less, hey, this is just like Sudoku, we can work this out. Because it is, in fact, unlike the Latin alphabet, an amazingly logical and consistent script. When I was at school in England, the study of languages was encouraged. I took French, German, and Latin and was called a linguist, but in fact, I knew only one script. And I'm ashamed to say that is still true. No matter how much I research and carve and speak about endangered alphabets, I can't read even the mainstream ones such as Cyrillic or Japanese. Virtually everyone I come into contact with through the endangered alphabets speaks more languages than I do and reads and writes more scripts. How is that possible? Mostly, of course, because those in the world's privileged and powerful cultures can afford to say, hey, you learn to adapt to our ways. We don't learn to adapt to you. Does Iris's observation that if someone grows up using a single script, it's hard for them to learn other scripts, and in fact they try to avoid doing so, does that ring true from your own experience? And if so, is it any wonder we in the West keep saying it would be more convenient if everyone spoke the same language and wrote in the Latin alphabet? If I'm right, and Iris is right, we can take a broader view, as I say in my book, Writing Beyond Writing, as members of the world's dominant script culture. Those of us in the West are, in fact, the least qualified to talk about and the least able to understand the nature and meaning of writing. Are the world's best linguists, then, those who don't grow up under the protective umbrella of the world's most widely used scripts, but, in fact, those who live in not only a multilingual society, but a polyscriptal one? In other words, those whose opinions and language and script we in the West have been most likely to ignore?